Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
We're going to talk a little bit about Faith Farm. You know that you've heard, of course, Dean Webb here so many times, but he does have a lot of staff. And the assistant manager here is somebody who's really been very helpful. And if you actually read the article on page 11 in the December issue of Boomer Times, you'll get to meet Carol. And I know, Carol, you said you're actually the assistant director, or what is the title?
Oh, boy, maybe someday, but
project
I'm the
director.
Assistant project manager.
Project manager.
Listen, if you could put in a good word for me.
Well, you're like so many there who are so enthusiastic about what it's all about. And I thought it was a very appropriate time for you to come, because I know that everyone's struggling with fundraising, but I know Faith Farm so well that I always want to push. I want people to please contribute. They need money as well as clothes and to buy things. Let's write a check to them this Christmas, right?
Yes, and thank you for that, Anita. And I just want to add, too, that twice a year, Anita invites Faith Farm to her Boomer Expo and doesn't charge us for the booth. And that is a huge marketing experience for us, gaining our Broward County contacts, because we do have our donation spot in Fort Lauderdale as well. So it's a great networking experience, and I've always wanted to say thank you so much. And it's just such a beautiful day.
It is.
And Anita's very busy, so we get to see her for a little bit that day, but we also meet a lot of people that are involved with Boomer, so it's awesome.
Right, and of course we have so many people coming down from Palm Beach County also, so
correct.
It does cover everything, and so many people don't really know what Faith Farm is. They know that, there's a thrift shop, and they say, when we bring things or we buy things. Oh, no, there's so much more. Why are they even there?
That's an amazing question, and I'm going to be very candid with you that I shopped and patronized Faith Farm for over 20 years with my daughter. I was a single mom, and it was the only place I could the Boyne store, that I could take her where every time she wanted to buy something, I didn't have to say, no, you can't have that. We used to fill up the cart, and it was an equally great bonding experience. But all of those little houses behind the farm, I had no idea myself of what actually goes on there behind the scenes. And every time somebody patronizes Faith Farm, either by shopping at the thrift store, donating to the thrift store, and most importantly, our monetary donations, which this has been a tough year for us as well, as you mentioned. So
yeah, I wanted to explain that. For one thing, I know Dean has explained that because of Irma, you lost, of course.
We lost a lot of our revenue because of Irma, and all of that money, every penny of it, goes to keep our alcohol and drug recovery program absolutely free. We are one of the few, not only in South Florida, but in the nation, that accepts addicts without one penny that they have to contribute. They're there for 10 months now, absolutely free. So that is, every time you shop at one of our stores, either in Okeechobee, Boynton, or Fort Lauderdale, or write us a check, you're helping transform a life that some of these people, the condition that they show up in, it truly breaks your heart. And all of you that do contribute, thank you so much. You literally are saving lives, so thank you.
And the other part that's really good is a lot of times people have been in these situations, drugs and other kinds of things, where they haven't worked for a long time. Some have never really worked much, and I know that Dean talks about it, that this is a way for people to learn how to be responsible again and to work and to help society.
This program is so remarkable, Anita, and I'm heavily involved with the student services. I'm like their student service coordinator, where I maintain and provide all of their curriculum. I administer and work in partnership with South Florida Bible College to test the students at the end of their teachings. They walk away from this program with a college transcript. some of them have not even graduated high school. So we have a GED program in place. They actually learn marketable skills, which we make certificates at their graduation of various functions on the farm. That this is a valuable piece of paper to some people that actually helps people get back into the world's working mixing board and be a part of the job market again, which even for us people who haven't been, addicted and out of it for years, it is very difficult to get a job now. So this is such an aid to people who are getting all of the tools they need to become productive members of society.
And it builds up their self-esteem,
Yes.
and it really makes a difference with their families. We know now at the graduations, we see the families coming in. Some of them, of course, have lost hope in their kids, and yet when they see what's happened, it's like it's a rebirth.
The graduations, no one ever walks away without crying because it is just such a moving experience. And, many times working there, we see the person when they're first admitted. And the complete and utter transformation of this life through our remarkable program that, again, there's just so much giving at these campuses of our staff. It takes a special kind of person to really be dedicated, and we are to these people. I mean, these students are my entire life, and that's really why I'm there. And I always tell them when I'm administering the college testing that it's like, you guys have no idea what you are doing for me. And so much in life, they've been told how much everyone's doing for them. So it's just another wonderful give and take, truly blessing.
What I want to do is tell you again that my guest is Carol Mahoney, and she has a lot of positions over there at Faith Farm, as you can hear. She's project director, manager. She really loves it very much. And the article she wrote was Happy Holidays for some, but not always for everyone. And that's very true. But what I really like is that someone now who goes there, they have people who, and they're not family, but they become family. And here, the holidays, if you're alone out in the world, it's hard. But now they have friends. They have the Christmas celebration, the New Year's celebration. People get their food. They get treats. And all they have to do, of course, is work. And they do. And many times you'll notice when trucks come by to pick up your, the things that you want to donate or for other reasons, then that's those are the people driving. Those are the people who are working. Those are the people who repair a lot of the items that you donate. So it is a very worthwhile organization. That's why I really plead all the time. Please give them some money. Make sure you put them into your holiday list or your will or something. Let me give you, it's really a way for you to get on their website, which is really very beautiful, and it's faithfarm.org. faithfarm.org. You'll also see Dean Webb there, of course, speaking so well, and his heart is there. He lives, breathes, eats everything with Faith Farm, but the people there are incredible. You have some who were addicts, but now they're not, and now they actually work there. Then you have some people who just came in, and they are, staff. The board of directors are all, of course, excellent. They dedicate their life to this. It's quite a story. I think it's 68 years old, something like that.
66.
66, I bumped it up to.
That's okay, though. It's a long time.
Right, and that was done, of course, and it's been going on for a long time. And one thing Dean has told us is in the United States there are many many addiction centers, but actually none have been able to do what Dean Webb, coming from a background of business, he saw that you can actually make this a business in a sense, and that's what he's tried to do.
He's actually succeeded quite well. Dean has turned this into what they call a micro enterprise. So again, your donations are funding the micro enterprise, which equals to every penny going into the program that transforms these people's lives. And I did want to add, too, a lot of very kind people out there, God bless you all, call and they said, well, this refrigerator isn't quite new, or the ice maker doesn't work, or this couch has a stain on it. We take everything. If it's not something that can be resold, we recycle it. Nothing goes to waste. We take every penny that you give us and put it back into these people's lives. And you could always visit our Facebook page, too, with this Faith Farm Ministries. And there's plenty of the pictures of the graduations, the testimonies. And there it is, you know, the live in-flesh person that has come. I mean, these people were living under a bridge when they came to us, many of them. So, again, we can't stress enough everything and anything that you can give. Don't ever worry that it's not good enough. It is good enough.
And also something that I am so pleased about, that there are many people, because of whatever they've done, it's not that they've murdered anyone, but they've gotten into other kinds of scrapes, and they actually could be put in prison. But Faith Farm and Dean Webb and the judges have an agreement. If someone is worth saving, he or she can go to the farm, Faith Farm, and if they do what they're supposed to do, then they can avoid that, which I think is fabulous.
It really is fabulous. And not to get too political about that conversation, but, you know, the justice system is looking upon addiction as a moral issue and a criminal issue. It's not a moral issue. It is not a crime. It's a disease. And it's an excellent way for local government to make a lot of revenue by entangling these people in a court system they have no business in being in. But again, it's a source of revenue to get people in there. They're paying with money that they don't have, and then they have this mark on them every time they go and apply for a job. So it's actually a very unfair system. So when we do get judges, as Anita mentioned, that will work with us turning these people's lives around, we'll do anything for these people, because most of them, if not probably 99% of them, never belonged incarcerated or in that system in the first place. And I just have to say, it is a very, very unfair system with addicted people, and it does nothing but just add to an existing addiction problem. It does nothing to rehabilitate these people at all.
And the other good part of, though, is that we always thought about alcohol and drugs. Now we know that we have the pharmaceutical, and we know that you're getting a lot of those kind of people, and they are coming, many of them, from very good homes. They've come, it's not something that they knew would happen. They just got so hooked on painkillers. And so you are getting those people too, aren't you?
The opiate crisis in this country is stealing 165 lives a day in this country from us now. Those figures might not be exact, but that's roughly how many people die every day in the United States from an opiate overdose. The difference with opioids is that no one's breaking the law buying them unless you're selling them on the side, which eventually happens with a lot of addicts trying to feed their habit. But I've talked to people that are my age, that are my daughter's age, that are middle age, all walks of life, all races, that had a car accident, are in a lot of pain, had a surgery. And some of them, the doctors actually said, don't worry about it, you won't be addicted. And it was so funny because a radio host that was very credible, like ANITA FINLEY, he had a surgery, and he said, I've never taken drugs. I'm just not an addictive personality. But he had a doctor that kind of was, pushing this on him. The guy was in a lot of pain. And, after 3 months, he said, I don't want to take this anymore. It's really not relieving the pain the way it should. And I feel funny, and I'm going to go ahead and not take it. And this radio host, and I don't know the guy, I was driving home one day listening to this story, said that the next week he actually had to call a friend to be with him. The withdrawal from this opioid that a doctor prescribed to him legally, he said, was the worst week of his life. The withdrawal was so life-threatening that he had never felt anything so bad. And a lot of times the people that come to us, while they're going through that, they'll just go and get a heroin dealer, and a lot of them will switch off to heroin to feed this insatiable enemy, the opioid crisis.
Kara, I'm so glad you came on the show today. I know that Dean, of course, is always on our show, and he's he's having a well-deserved vacation with his family.
Yes.
But it's a little bit different. I'm glad you bring other things into our conversation which we haven't had.
Thank you.
The other thing is that I've been working with them for a long time. At that time, when first started, there weren't very many women. There were only a few, and they didn't know how to deal with it. Now I think you have some in the 40s. I mean, there are 40 of them or something. You have
we have. It's 32 beds now, and it's called the Eastham Home for Women. It's on the Boynton Beach campus. And again, we see all ages of addiction, all walks of life, all statuses in life. And again, a lot of them are starting out with the opioid crisis. So we do have a lot of women now at full capacity.
And when you think about that, if a woman is younger, has a family, it's not that you just go in for a weekend, you go home. I think you could explain that when you go there, you're there for 9 months, right? And maybe
Yes.
there's a certain point when then you can have a visitation after you're there for a while. But, I mean, you really have to be secured, and you're just segregated into this world so that you're not tempted.
Yes. And, women face different struggles in life than men do. Women are, men, of course, miss their children, too. And we have in Fort Lauderdale, actually, we're working in partnership with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies for the men, the fatherhood mentoring program, which teaches these men who have children that have no idea what it is to be a father. And they leave this program with a sense of self that I'm a father and I have a child in this world I must protect.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
It's a brand new program.
Oh, isn't that excellent?
We just started it. Louis Morales, our Fort Lauderdale director, is in partnership now with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. And I was actually at their graduation, just to make it real brief, 23 years ago when I was freshly divorced and found myself pregnant again by a man I had just met. Shame on me, but no resources, no insurance. They helped me. They got me a full Medicaid. My daughter's a state baby. I know that this has nothing to do with
this is what we talk about. That's fine.
Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies is in partnership now with Faith Farm, helping these men become better members of society by being better fathers. And my personal link was that I actually got up there and gave a speech telling my story. My daughter, and of course I'm always looking for a reason to plug her. She's a college graduate. She was always on the National Honor Society. When she tested in the 5th grade out of, I think, the 8 million students in the 5th grade that test in this country, she tested at number 77. Now, that's not a lot.
Oh, please.
If you're 100 kids, this was out of like 8 million. I mean,
this is what great news.
This daughter is, and now she works for the nonprofit field, giving back what Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies did for us. So, I want to say that they did this. But, of course, they didn't do everything. But who knows if they weren't there for me, I wouldn't have gotten prenatal care for her. I was already 6 months pregnant, hadn't seen a doctor, didn't have the money.
Isn't that wonderful?
So when I went and I passed by their office every day, that in a building that hasn't been Boynton now probably for the past 10 years, torn down, but I just walked in there one day and I got prenatal care, and this daughter is, I'm so blessed with this child. I'm the luckiest mother in the world. So I always say, I don't know what I would have done without them. But anyway,
That's a great story.
It's a beautiful story, and we're working with them now. So I was just at their graduation on Sunday when their program director passed out their certificates to the men. Now back to the women who are in our program. Yes. They are there for 10 months. A lot of these women have children. We do allow visitation. We do allow communication with the daughters. After a certain time, the women's intake director handles all of the social visits and stuff because this is a healing. Addiction is a family disease. It's not one person in the family suffering. So the entire family has to heal together. And we want to stop and break the chain with the children. So their mother just can't disappear. Because a lot of children, when that happens and you're hiding it from them, of course they're going to say, my mother doesn't love me, they left me. But if you bring them in and make them part of the process and be able to relate to them the way you do a child's developing mind, we have better odds that the children won't turn to drugs and alcohol like the parents did. So
they're lucky to have you, Carol. I have to tell you, it's funny. I haven't really had a conversation with you. Right, I haven't had a conversation with you before like this.
Thank you, Anita.
And of course, after reading your article, and I said to our administrator, well, why don't we see if Carol wants to come on and see what we can do for Faith Farm? So what we want to do is, please, it can be a check for $5, $500, $5,000. They are so deserving. And the thing that I like about Faith Farm is you can actually see the good. It's not something you put it in on a check and it goes into a big bank account and then you hear all good things, but you can literally go there and see what goes on. You actually can go to a graduation. It's all open to the public.
It's amazing. And I would encourage anyone, and a lot of people do go, if I put all the dates on our website's calendar, which again, Anita mentioned, faithfarm.org, go to our events calendar. All the graduations are on there. If you feel like going out to the country, we have our country campus, Okeechobee, which is beautiful. And there are real cows out there, and it's all farming. Comprehensive work program we have for the men out there, along with, the driving the trucks. We have our urban model, Fort Lauderdale. That graduation we just had Sunday, so they'll have another one at the end of February, I believe it is on the calendar, but Okeechobee's is coming up on January 7th. So if you ever want to know the dates of the graduations, it's right there for you. And, of course, in February, I believe it's the 18th, it's also on the calendar, it's a Sunday, we have the homecoming, which is a big celebration of all of the graduates.
I always go to those.
And Anita's always there.
Oh, I mean, it's just amazing.
The speakers, our keynote speaker last year was the president of Ashley Furniture. Here is a successful businessman that spent the greater part of his life on his couch, drunk, not connecting with his children, and turned his life around and walked away from alcohol. It's even if you never experienced addiction yourself, it is such a moving, uplifting experience because we really do need daily confirmation of the good in this world because we're living in a world where we're not seeing it as much. So this here, write us a check.
Right.
You literally can go to our website if you are not in South Florida, if you can't make it to a graduation. Look on our Facebook page. Look on our Twitter. With your own eyes, you will see these people. When we even see them at the graduations, I'm like, I cannot believe that's the same person.
Well, the other thing I want to make sure that you know, everyone, at least our listening audience, are usually over 50, and many of you have wills and you have trusts. And, of course, the lawyer will say, well, who do you want to leave your money to? And, of course, you usually put in your kids or maybe someone, a very special friend. Why don't you just add a small amount? Doesn't have to be a lot. We did have a very large amount left, but by somebody who must have been listening to the radio and they got all caught up in this. But so when you pass away, you'll know that your money is there making things immortal.
Do you know, and this is Anita's blessing us with her kind words, that, do you know, a lot of people actually do that. Again, this has been a financially strapped year for us. The hurricane certainly shut down our...
Oh, you lost a generator? I know that.
Oh, it was like every day something else was going. Right. We didn't have power for a week. We didn't have computer. We didn't have a phone for 2 weeks. So we were basically just, trying to operate with whatever we had. But, we all pulled together and are trying to make it work. And I want to say thank you to the family members of your relative that passed on and left us something in their will. And we do get that grant money or the endowment. And what a blessing. I mean, I can't thank you all enough, the family members, for, and they're part of the decision too. So thank you.
Yeah, that's true. And what I want to do is share something about what you said that, the Ashley Furniture, the man.
Yes.
That you do get new Ashley Furniture It's special kind. It's not, I think all of it isn't sold in the big stores for Ashley, but if you go there, you'll see their gorgeous sets. You'll see the comforter, you'll see the pillows, you'll see the bed. You can buy all that and just walk away with it. And the one thing that's happened, and I've always loved it, sometimes if a family has been burnt out with, you offer free furniture, come in, get yourself caught up. I mean, you're such a giving organization.
And we want to continue to do that. That's why, again, the donations that's what we do with the money. The Ashley Furniture, in partnership with Faith Farm, we are selling brand new furniture. You know, a lot of people don't know about that either. They think Faith Farm, again, just thrift. Ashley is all brand new furniture that perhaps that wasn't selling, and out of the goodness of the president's heart, gives us his furniture that he no longer wants, and he wants to give it to us, more like it. So we get that. And as Anita mentioned, we also have the program where people that have lost everything for one reason or another, we do donate furniture for free.
I know you do. Well, Carol, it has been absolutely wonderful having you. It's been Carol Mahoney, Faith Farm Ministries. And you can, of course, get on the website, which is faithfarm.org. And thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you, Anita. It was a pleasure.